Welcome back to the top of Aspen Mountain and Local. Here we go again. I'm joined by Elizabeth Lafemina. She has skinned all the way up the mountain to be with us here at Local. How are you this morning, Elizabeth?
I'm excellent. How are you?
Oh, probably better than I deserve. Here we are, dressed to ski at 9 a.m. before everyone else gets up here.
Stunning morning.
I know, not too bad. And you popped up last week for Little Word with Diana, and we were up here talking about all things theembodiedbeing.com.
Exactly.
Wonderful. And you're back for more.
Yeah, last week we talked about finding balance through movement. As an extreme athlete, how can you cut it back a little so you can maintain and last longer? And also, how can you use movement as a way to become more embodied and cultivate awareness about how you're feeling and how you're doing on any given day. And so then we thought today we'd come back and talk about, well, when we're not moving, we're usually working. And so we're sitting or standing in front of our computers. So we thought it'd be a great idea to teach people how to sit better, get out of that classic computer pose and into a more upright position.
It is a constant struggle to maintain wellness. And I know for me in the wintertime, I always get up in the morning and I kind of just go through the process. You know, you get into the rhythm. We ski every day. We uphill every day. Sometimes you go too hard when you shouldn't. Yeah. Sometimes you don't go as hard as you should when you could go harder. And I tend to neglect myself towards the end of the season. But you were saying as well that beyond the skiing and beyond the activity, there's a lot of things we do in our day-to-day lives that affect us, that affect our posture, that affect how we feel physically.
Exactly.
And that's what we're going to actually be talking about today.
Exactly. That's a really great point, because essentially the reality is we become habituated and fall asleep to the patterns that we embody and move in through our daily life. And a lot of that is sitting and standing and how we walk about. And so a big component of the embodied being and my practice is helping people cultivate awareness and giving them simple, effective tips to choose a better, healthier pattern and become aware of what they're doing so they could choose a better way of being too.
All right, before you teach us how to fix ourselves, is there anything you are personally guilty of in a posture
gosh, I'm guilty of it
standpoint?
all. I slouch like the best of them, and I can go extreme way too much myself, and so I'm always trying to dial it back. And for me, finding balance in any given day in all aspects of life is so important, and I try to share that with others as well, because we like to go extreme.
We do. And my thing that I am constantly guilty of, I always think that my body hurts from the extreme sports I do. And the thing that causes me the most discomfort is sitting in my desk chair and playing guitar. Exactly. And I hunch over and it gives me costochondritis. And for years, I thought that came from snowboarding, from hitting the ground, from carrying heavy backpacks, from not resting when I should, but really it came from my posture and my body position when I was at home resting. And now we are going to actually take a look at a few things that we can do to improve our posture and to give ourselves more success in that department.
Exactly.
All right, here we go. Let's see.
Yeah, so a lot of times we sit at our computer in what I like to call the classic computer pose. You know, we're
healthy
on our
posture.
sacrum, we're scrunched in our shoulders, our lumbars are rounded back, and our heads are forward. And we can't get any oxygen to our brains, and we can't breathe, and it's exhausting. And so basically, in order to fix that, what I recommend is pretend you're a pianist. Stick your sits bones are these bony protuberances called your ischial tuberosities, and they're part of your pelvis, but they're on the top of your legs. So if you can sit, finding your ischial tuberosities, sort of like a pianist, find those, balance on those. The ischial tuberosities are the base of support in sitting. And from there, you want your feet hip-width apart and your knees over your ankles. And from here, you see it's very easy to sit upright. I have my head on my shoulders. I have my chest is open, and my hands can just hang like this, as opposed to this.
That's how I sit.
Exactly. We all sit this way. But now I can round up onto my sits bones and sit up tall. My brain's getting oxygen. And then you want to look straight out to your computer. Looking down, not so good. Looking up isn't good either, because both cut off this joint at your occiput. And so that over time can create neck pain and neck strain. So straight out to your computer. So that's simple, just starting with your sits bones, finding your feet flat on the floor, and growing up tall. Head position is huge. We like to imagine that we're looking with our whole head instead of just our eyes. And so another key when you're looking at your phone even is to bring your phone up to you as opposed to looking down. We have our head down all the time these days, and that's just going to create problem because it closes down the chest and the pecs. But really we want to open this up. And sitting on your sit bones enables that easily. A lot of times now, people are standing at their computers, which I think is a great alternative. But if you're standing like this with your feet out from under you, your spine can't be supported. So basically you want to bring your feet hip width apart. And when I do this, you'll see that my spine is supported. If I do this, my spine goes forward. If I do this, my spine is supported. So really you want your feet hip width apart under you. And this enables it, just like sitting, to have your spine span. Your shoulders can stack over your diaphragm and your pelvis, and your head can come on your shoulder girdle. It's so hard to do that when you're in this position because the pelvis goes forward. I kind of like to call it the gunslinger, you know? You're like ready to pull out the...
Liz keeps doing impressionations of what I do wrong in my personal life.
I'll do it wrong. Anyway, yeah, so I call it the gunslinger. And, but so, yeah, or the cocktail stance, you know, you're on one leg. But really, ideally, if you're in the grocery store line or if you're at the counter cutting onions for dinner, just see if you can bring your feet under you. And then that will support your spine and enable your head to come on your shoulders better. So.
And just when you thought it was the extreme sports that were getting you, it's really when you're chilling at home on your phone, and also when you're chilling in the grocery store waiting for that person in front of you to check out.
That slow poke.
I know. Liz, thank you so much for coming up this morning and fixing us up and getting us sorted out in our posture in our life. If we need to find out more about Liz and more about what you offer, and how do we find you?
You can go to my website called theembodiedbeing.com. Or you can email me at lizlafemina@gmail.com.
There you go. If you need more information, reach out to Liz. We're going to send Liz on her merry way. She's deserved a good ski down because she skied all the way up this mountain this morning. Right now, we're going to take a look at our weather, and we will be back just after this break with Susan Rubel from Aspen Film. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.